gay, and passerby. My name is Nia, also known as @bitnia, and I'm in my vlogger era. For the past month or so, I've been documenting pretty much all of the queer nightlife events I've gone to, from an average night at a staple historical lesbian bar to a 1,000-square-foot lesbian oil wrestling competition that essentially functioned as Lesbian Coachella 2025. And today, I'm taking y'all with me, not only for the fun, the shots I shouldn't have taken, and the amazing people I met along the way, but also because I find nightlife, especially queer nightlife, to be intrinsically socio-political. And as our visibility and access to spaces increases, so does our responsibility to interrogate, highlight, and document them. Sorry for clickbait, I did not go to every lesbian bar in New York in this video, but I have been to all of them. But there are only 4. But if you subscribe, maybe I will. Maybe if you subscribe to the Patreon, I will. If you don't know, my channel is comprised of my podcast/web show, Glass Closet, where I talk to cool, queer people about gay shit, both online and offline and everywhere in between, as well as video essays, most notably my series, The Internet's Evilest Lesbians, where I synthesize and reanalyze lesbian breakups that took place between public figures and very much in the public eye. But generally, my videos are socio-political, thought-provoking, and journalistic in nature, with an essence of flirty fun. And while I am a curious, extrospective Gemini moon with a passion for investigative journalism and cultural documentation, I'm also a 23-year-old lesbian living in the gayest city maybe in the world. So y'all know I'd be outside for real. Hence, vlogger era. So, this is basically queer nightlife lifestyle vlog done the Bitnia way, as well as transparently a major plug for my Patreon, where I will be taking y'all along on even more of these gay adventures. Hey y'all, I'm getting married. So without further ado, welcome to the scene. Very much woods. If this is not your first time on my channel, you have absolutely heard me mention the Woods Wednesday. I mention it way too much, actually. I need to stay inside and start reading or something. But the Woods is absolutely my favorite function in New York City. Like, I could have mail sent there at this point. Basically, it's a free weekly lesbian night every Wednesday, famously, at a bar called The Woods. It was founded over 10 years ago by icon, DJ, and oomf Amber Valentine, and from what legend says, has grown from a couple dykes trying to build community and perhaps find love at a local bar into a lesbian nightlife staple, and at times, a fire hazard. Because of its leap in popularity, somewhat thanks to the rise of TikTok in 2020, The Woods also faces a lot of criticism, whether it be about predatory men trying to enter the space, dyke-on-dyke crime, which I've heard range from microaggressions to sexual misconduct, or issues with the music or dissatisfaction with the capacity. But nonetheless, if you're in the New York City dyke scene, or know someone who is, you know The Woods. To define the scene, which I will most likely be using a lot in this video, it's essentially the people who be out. You get an Instagram at any of the events I'm going to mention in this video, and 8 times out of 10, you have at least 3 mutuals. And those other 2 times where you don't, keep her. It's not a bad thing to be in the scene. I mean, I hope. Shit, I don't know, you tell me. But in New York, it can sometimes feel akin to what the L word has solidified as the lesbian web. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody slept with everybody. Everybody's ex is dating someone else's ex's ex, and everybody's low-key in each other's business. And while that definitely has its shortcomings, it's also a very beautiful thing, in my opinion. And I think no event better toes that line than the Woods Wednesday.
I'm Michaela, and I've lived here for 8 months, so take that with a grain of salt.
Hi, I'm Olivia, or Liv. I've lived in New York for almost 4 years.
And this is your first time at the Woods?
Yeah, this is my first time at the Woods. I often do not go out in Brooklyn, but this year I've been wanting to find anything. I think the love of my life is in Brooklyn, potentially. So hold on. I am interested in exploring it because I live in Harlem. There's not really like a queer scene up there. Okay. So I'm interested in exploring and seeing it. So I've never been to the Woods. I'm a bush girl, down and down. So I'm interested in going to the Woods.
And this is what you're a vet.
I'm acquainted with the Woods. I'm acquainted. I like the Woods. I think it's nice to, like, okay, I feel like, yeah, everyone complains to see the TikToks where it's like, oh, fuck, I walked to the Woods, and it's like my ex, the girl I went on a date with, like, every single person I talked to. And yeah, that sucks, but it's also, I think the Woods is just, like, community. It's consistent, and it's just, like, a lesbian space, which is just, like, especially in this day and age, we're just lucky to have. So yeah, no, I love the woods. I love woods down.
While there are no perfect parties, I love the woods because it feels like the heart of the scene in a lot of ways. And notably, compared to the other parties in this video, it's one of the only free events, which makes it a lot more accessible. But I've long said, I will not find my wife at the Woods Wednesday. I will not find my wife at the Woods Wednesday. I will not find my wife at the Woods Wednesday. That's not its function for me. It's a spot to reconnect with friends, dance, mingle, and feel safe and free on a consistent basis. In a space that you always know will be there and most likely have your friends or acquaintances or exes there too. Yes, it's on a Wednesday, which is wild, yes, but I think that also speaks to its essence. It's not a place that's based on having, 6 bitches booty butt naked shaking ass in your face, even though that definitely does happen. I find it to be more about connecting with the community, and it's a great place to meet new people if you're new to the city. For about 3 years now, on and off, I've hosted Woods pre-games at my apartment that are genuinely just about making new friends. Like, I met this cool person on an app, this cool person at a dinner party, this cool person who I've been meaning to hang out with, but we couldn't figure out what to do. Boom, I invite them to the pre, we all mingle, we head into the jungle. And the consistency of it has been a great way to build and maintain friendships.
Can you twerk? It really depends.
Out and About. Out and About is a rave-style pop-up party that hosts events in LA, San Diego, Atlanta, and New York as I'm writing this. It launched initially in California at the end of 2023 and launched in New York City, Halloween of 2024, so a relatively new addition to the scene. It's known for its rotating DJ sets, large venues, drag performances, or sometimes live music like Brooklyn-based trans rock band Jennifer. Go watch my podcast episode with Jennifer, thank you. As well as themed parties, for example, a white lie t-shirt party where everyone wears a white top that has a lie on it, like I hate masks, I'm a bad kisser, I'm a switch, you get it. They've also been known to throw music festivals or pool parties or day parties, and it's basically the closest thing you'll get to a lesbian rave.
Like, the people who host the party will come up with the concept, do the branding, do the marketing, get the hosts, and sell tickets through their Instagram typically, and then like have them in these rotating array of locations in New York. And Out and About is a party that typically the location changes every time. This one is having an arm wrestling competition, so obviously I'm fucking there. I'm just kidding. Yeah, this is the fit. Converse. I do have a Target tonight. Yeah, that's right. I'm letting you guys in on the real tea.
So my Target for the night was a spectacular flop, but I did get their friend's number. Yay scene. If you couldn't tell from Drunk Bitnia's meanderings, I'm really into the word meandering right now, by the way. Meandering, haha. Out and About is definitely more of a cruising party. People are there to flirt. It's got huge venues, so we're usually talking like a 500 to 1,000 person turnout per party, and tickets typically range from $15 to $25. Notably, Out and About is pretty white, and I noticed this with big parties, typically ones that come out of California and move to New York. I've also noticed a real culture shift in recent years when it comes to the prevalence of the conversations around demographics at lesbian parties, and Bitnia personally, have actually caught strays in this ever-evolving discourse. But there's a real narrative online and in real life about race in queer spaces, as I've talked about, and more specifically the inclusion of or safety for Black people at these bigger, somewhat brand name, multi-coastal queer raves. And I think there's a lot of validity to that. I'm gonna dive deeper into my perspective on the specifics on my Patreon because Bitnia has ops, y'all. This is not a safe space. But what I will say as far as my role within the space as both a community member, public persona, and journalist is that I've lived in New York since 2019. I've been involved in queer nightlife as a significant facet of my life since 2021. And I want to say every bar and event that I mentioned in this video except one did not exist before 2023. I'm never going to advocate against critiquing our spaces. It's integral to safety and our continued visibility and the stability of our community. However, I think it's important to note that these discourses weren't happening in 2022 because there were just way less spaces in general. Recently, people have critiqued this TikTok I made in early 2023 as evidence that I only go to white parties, only to follow up with the suggestion that I go to a Black queer party that literally did not even close to exist at the time I made the video. And at the time I made that video, I'd be at the Woods and other Black queer people would come up to me and be like, yo, I'm here because of your TikTok, thanks, and that was so cool. But 3 years later, and now why you say fuck me for? To be clear, I have no interest in defending myself or clearing up any allegations because I know what I'd be doing and why. I'm literally me. But I do think it's important to zoom out a bit when we enter these conversations because while critique is integral, here's that word I'm always saying, so is nuance. And I think the communal tension we're feeling is being born out of the rise in our own visibility and ability to create our own spaces. We're living in the wake of the death of the lesbian bar. In the 90s, there were over 100 lesbian bars, not pop-up parties, but brick and mortar bars in the United States. In 2020, there were less than 20. And today, as in within the last 5 years, there are about 36. It's our generation that's revitalizing this culture, And with that work, there will be maintenance and discourse and tension, because as I've said, they'll put us all under one letter of the acronym, but the community is absolutely not homogenous. It is impossible for one space or person or thing to embody the entirety of the lesbian community. Thus, I'm not advocating for anyone to go anywhere they don't feel seen or respected. Do what you want for real. I'm literally not you. But my purview is that I'm just grateful for the space. I'm glad to be alive during a time where we have all these options. I think it's important to remember who and what the real enemy is when we have these conversations also. And the great thing about the dissatisfaction with spaces is that it just breeds more spaces. And that's a beautiful thing, because then we have like so many spaces and everyone can go where they feel the most seen and kiss and fall in love, and then we'll have even more spaces because of all the weddings. But while we're on the topic of lesbian nightlife history, let's dig deep into the roots, y'all. Dare I say, into the cubbyhole.
I'm Marissa. Hi.
What do you do?
I work at the Cubbyhole.
How long have you been working here?
Just about 4 years. My favorite thing about Cubby, genuinely, it is like such an intergenerational space. You could be in a room with someone from every generation alive at any given moment here. Not right now, actually. But that makes it really special, and also it's a really small bar, so you end up having to talk to people regardless of whether or not you want to. So it's easy to make friends. I always say it's one of the easiest bars to walk into by yourself.
Cubbyhole opened in 1987 under the name DT's Fat Cat and rebranded to Cubbyhole in 1994. It is one of the 2 remaining lesbian bars in all of Manhattan, and as its name implies, she's tiny. Malia, who's the 3rd ever guest on my podcast Glass Closet, works at Cubbyhole, and we talk about it a bit in that episode, but the way she describes it is like it's basically like the dopest living room in the world.
Favorite part about Cubby that you would tell to someone who's never been?
The decor really is what it's all about. The bar top too, it's like all pictures of like patrons and gay celebrities and like little things like that. There's just a lot to look at. There's literally farm animals painted below the bar, like people don't even know that. There's just random shit everywhere.
Thanks, Malia. Everybody follow Malia.
Love you.
It's cozy, it's communal, it's chill, it's warm, and the decorations are beautiful. And it's nearly akin to like one of those bars you see in a sitcom. Like, you know that bar they're always at in How I Met Your Mother? It's that vibe, but like with more gay people. When I first went to Cubby, I went on a Friday or Saturday, naturally thinking like, Dyke's night out, woo! But I found that's not the key. The night I vlogged this, I did something I'd never done before. I went to Cubbyhole on a Monday, on invitation from my friend Michaela, who swore by it. And it did, in fact, eat.
Cubby Mondays.
Oh, I love Cubby Mondays.
Cubby Mondays are
here. I've enjoyed it.
While I think Cubby on a weekend is an experience every dyke should experience at least once in their life, if not for only 5 minutes or until you can't move, the Cubby weeknight vibe was so dope. It's very chat with strangers, buy the bartender a shot, make a friend, kiss a friend. There's definitely a quality to it that feels incredibly homey, and it just feels like a perfect alternate universe where you can go to your chill, tiny dive bar after work, except everyone's gay. Like, that's awesome. But to introduce the sociopolitical as I do, sometimes not everyone is gay. As a byproduct of its historical reputation and subsequent fame, Cubbyhole is a bit of a queer tourist attraction, not only for queer people from out of state, but also the resident festivity for allies who want a taste of dyke nightlife for an evening. It revitalized its status as a staple in queer history when the bar went semi-viral in early 2024 after a cis-straight woman visited and brought along her cis-het friend, who was a man.
We got there and I was having so much fun. Everyone was so nice. The music was all like Renee rap and I was living my best life. Until one of our guy friends wanted to meet up with us, and he comes into the bar for quite literally 2 minutes. Literally wanted to come in, say hello, and leave. Girl approaches him pretty soon after he walks in and goes, "What are you doing here?" To be honest, I was a little taken aback because as a straight woman in a gay bar, and also a straight woman who goes to a male gay bar, I've never felt like that before or been approached like that. The girl goes on to say, like, I've been coming to this bar for 10 years and blah, blah, blah. Basically, like, my friend didn't belong there. Now I get it. It's a gay bar for women. But the amount of very obviously flamboyantly gay men that were in that bar that were not being approached and yelled at. But the way she spoke to us, like, as a group, and I looked at her and I was like, he is with us. He's good. Like, she was not having it. She did not want him in that bar at all, and I get it. But, like, there's no rules against that.
So that video is actually about me. I'm that lesbian, so I just wanted to provide some context on what happened from my perspective. So I was at Cubbyhole, been going to this bar for 8 years since I moved to New York. I actually met my wife there. I was waiting in the bathroom line, minding my own business, and there was a dude standing in front of the bathroom. I tapped him on his shoulder. I was like, excuse me, you know, you're kind of in the way, whatever. I was not trying to start conflict, anything like that. He turns around. He seemed a little bit grumpy. So I was like, okay, dude, are you even here with anyone? Like, what are you doing in this bar? And he points to his friend, a girl who seems pretty queer to me. Not the girl who made that other video. And she's like, he's with me. I'm like, okay, cool. I turn around, continue to wait in line, really had to pee. And then this guy comes to me and he goes, well, if I wasn't here with someone, would that be a problem? And I say, absolutely. Like, yes, it would be a problem. This guy, the girl in that video, some other girls, they all jump at me and they're like, what? Like, why would you say that? That's so messed up, blah, blah, blah. These people start coming at me. And I'm just in the bathroom. I'm there celebrating a friend's birthday. I want literally nothing to do with straight people, which is why I'm in Cubbyhole in the first place. And, you know, I'm just like, hey, okay, this is a queer bar. We don't have a lot of spaces. I've been coming to this bar for a long time. It's a special place for me. It's also a safe place for me. And I have seen a lot of cis straight guys come into this bar and cause problems. Like, it's a known thing. It happens at Cubbyhole. It happens at Henrietta's. It happens at Stonewall. There are straight dudes that come into these bars specifically because they're trying to pick up girls. So I wasn't trying to instigate anything. I was just trying to like, hey, safety check.
This incident was widely covered and discussed in queer circles across the country when it occurred, and obviously it extended beyond Cubbyhole, but the irony of it being the vessel for the modern revisiting of this conversation is kind of poetic in a way. So, should straight cis men come to lesbian bars? In my opinion, every situation is different, and obviously the primary concern around men coming to lesbian bars is protecting women and queer people from predators and hostility. So in an instance where we're talking about an alleged ally, like in this situation, my main takeaway is aligned with what the majority of people on lesbian TikTok were saying at the time. How much of an ally are you if you can't understand why your presence would be jarring here? I don't think the issue is that he was there. I've been to Cubby, quite a bit even. I've seen men at Cubby, well, I assume. Truly, my brain blurs them out. It's like in Charlie Brown where the adults' heads are always out of frame and their voices sound like gargling water. But it's definitely happened. But I can't cite an instance where it mattered because I'd assume those men were like with the shits. The propensity for people who are in the space as guests, and as they stated in a somewhat voyeuristic, I've never been to a lesbian bar, ooh, type of way, to accost this actual lesbian as if she was somehow being discriminatory against the cis guy was bananas. I think a major part of being an ally is knowing what your role is in society and how that affects the people with less privilege than you. This man crying discrimination to some random dyke because his feelings were hurt lacks the cognizance and necessary understanding needed to classify him as the safe man the woman who made the TikTok is clearly trying to paint him as. And her too, of course. Especially in a space as physically small and historically charged as Cubbyhole. It's just not mindful of the community and real people you're allegedly there to show allyship to. Sometimes you just take the L, no pun intended, and keep it pushing. If you're not part of the incredibly real, historically and statistically backed problem, misogyny, why are you offended? Anyways, next I went to GGG. GGG, I'd say, is the most prominent party I've seen come out of the praxis of, since it don't exist, let's make it. It's a collective started by 4 friends that throws an event series by and for Black, queer, trans, and non-binary people. It launched in, I believe, 2024, and there are definitely multiple collectives. I think of something like Poppy Juice or Gush, but this one has definitely become a staple and a can't miss for the lesbians. They're also known for having cool and creative venues, and this night was one of my favorites. It was an indoor-outdoor rooftop party, floor-to-ceiling windows, great music, filled with beautiful melanin and great vibes. Venue was shaking ass, y'all. One thing I really appreciate about them is their mission. While some parties can seem like soulless entities that arise out of the Instagram abyss, GGG has a social presence that makes it feel like there are real people behind this with a genuine mission. And that mission is that there are not enough spaces for Black queer people. So let's build a safe space with bomb music for us all to shake ass and kiss. And did. They also have a set of house rules that set a tone for the space and really solidify what the vibe is all about. No fighting, no egos, respect the space and each other, consent is mandatory, no baggage claim, as in leave your baggage at the door, and be yourself. I just think that's dope. Not even just from a safety perspective, but just because I think it's nice to have it laid out what going out is really supposed to be about. Fun, levity, connection, music, reprieve, in a scene that can feel so difficult to navigate. Yes, that's the word I'll use. It's cool for a space to acknowledge that and then be like, figure that shit out at the woods.
I'm going out again. I went out last night. It wasn't a gay party, so I didn't vlog it, but my friend Bangs is a host, and they're like a queer-centric host and like a BIPOC queer-centric party host, which is super cool. They had a section, we had a bottle, it was a movie, etc. And we're here to do it all again. It is currently 5:30. This is a lesbian cocktail hour called Auroriun. I've been to one before. I would say like what this party has become known for is just having like the baddest bitches. Like it's just like hot people. So this is the fit. My little boots. Hey, praying with Michaela. We're gonna dance and we're drinking shots. We're drinking shots. Should we do a shot? Let's do a shot. All right, see y'all at the function. Where the fuck the function?
Auroriun is a pop-up cocktail party series that I believe launched in 2025. It's similar to GGG in the sense it's a BIPOC, capital B, centered queer cocktail party with super cool venues. The main difference is that by virtue of it being a cocktail party, it typically starts around 6 and ends around 10, which is ironic because that shit is not a cocktail party. It's absolutely a club that ends at 10 o'clock.
We're looking for trade. We have a little group. Can you take a picture of us? Wait, Vince, what do you think of the event?
It's fucking hot and lit.
Which I think is really dope and smart because I don't actually know, but I'd assume that's because earlier slots are more affordable to rent out for functions, and thus it's a really smart way to maximize the amount of queer event options, especially for BIPOC people, while keeping things affordable. Notably, their tickets are usually $8, which is rare for New York. So yeah, Auroriun was fun as fuck. I've also seen them do pole dancing classes, figure drawing, and they recently had a 25 and up party, so they're also working on creating dedicated spaces to meet desires within the community, which I think is really cool. And yeah, everybody's super fucking hot. Next. So how do I say this on YouTube? Let's just say it's performance art because it really is. And the object is to emulate an act that is typically done with a specific appendage, but the appendage in this competition is plastic. Okay? Sorry, Mom. Anyways, I was in attendance to the second annual blanking competition at my very favorite bar in the world, the Rosemont. Well, I was late, so I actually didn't see anything. Sorry, people.
I'm running so late. Also, don't mind my lesbian balloons. I had a lesbian themed Dyke March picnic. I do low-key so much shit outside and then I don't record it. So I'm trying to do that today. Today I'm going to, this is a fun one. I'm going to a house party, a sapphic house party. I haven't been to one of these in a minute. There used to be this party called Lesbian House Party that was in like a brownstone. Then it got shut down by the police because we can't have nice things. And after that I'm supposed to go to I'm going to a competition. It's like performance art, y'all. You just have to walk with it. You just gotta walk with it, okay? It's so fun. I went for their inaugural one 2 years ago. People were doing handstands, back bends, y'all. It's crazy.
I was at the first one in 2024, and wow, I have been doing it wrong. Kidding. Sorry, Mom. Think outfits, handstands, choreography on concrete. Yeah, it's a special event put on by this collective called Bruise, which is a staple mixer in the kink scene. Now, New York City's kink scene has a rich and vast history. The crossover into the queer scene is definitely pretty pertinent, but I would say it's its own sub-community, especially when it comes to lesbian or sapphic kink. Like, the gay guys have their own thing going on, trust. Bruise is a free monthly party that I view as a mixture of sorts, lots of chatting, some light play, and meeting some new people with similar interests. However, because of the blanking competition, there was a bigger turnout than I'd say is usual, and it was a little more of a dancing vibe. It's Karma Carr, and you're at Gay Bar.
I am at Gay Bar.
What do you think of Gay Bar?
It's fun, it's cute, it's gorgeous. I'm here with my friends, so I'm having a ball.
What do you think is the biggest difference between New York and LA when it comes to the queer scene?
There's a scene in New York. That's the biggest difference. There is one here.
But what I love about the Rosemont is that it has this dive bar-esque feel, but they also have insane club programming. It's incredibly versatile, and I feel like they regularly throw a diverse enough array of events that anyone can find something that they're into. Like, I went to an Addison Rae night there. Fantastic. It's also the bar that feels the most naturally integrated between all of the letters. I think a video like this is compelling because lesbian spaces are not, or at least weren't always, as easy to find and integrate into. And gay men, they don't really have that issue. There are a lot of bars for the gay boys, and they can be like, not the most friendly to lesbians. As an outsider, my understanding is that Hell's Kitchen, a neighborhood in Midtown Manhattan, is like the gay boy capital of New York City. Lots of bars with lots of different vibes that serve different functions and sub-niches of gay men. Drag, dancing, dive bar vibes, whatever, and it's a good time. I like Hell's Kitchen, but I don't always feel the most safe there. Like, my mask friends have horror stories, but even as a femme, the gay boys in Hell's Kitchen typically think I'm a straight girl. For example, once I was chatting it up with a Hell's Kitchen gay, and he was like 40, mind you, and he was like, "Are you here with one of the gays?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm a lesbian." And he gasped, and then immediately tried to kiss me. And I'll be a non-Hell's Kitchen, but at another bar oriented towards gay men, I had a bartender ask me again famously if I was here with one of the gays. And I said, "No, I'm actually waiting for my date. I'm a lesbian." And he said, "Wow, I didn't know lesbians looked like this now." To be fair, hilarious. Anyways, all that to say, the Rosemont doesn't have those vibes. I've been going for years, and it always really felt like a bar that is actually for the LGBTQ community. Because sometimes I feel like we just be throwing that acronym on everything, and you need to sense the secret bat signal to know which letter is actually in bold. But I digress.
I was like, what's the afters? What's the afters, guys? And I think tonight the afters are going to be at the Bush. The Bush is like kind of become known for being a brick and mortar instead of a pop. Like, this is a pop-up party. The Bush is like a brick and mortar, always there lesbian bar that's kind of also become known for being a Black lesbian space. And they're having a Leo party tonight for Leo season.
Shout out to all the Leos.
So to be fair, this vlog footage is actually a conglomerate of several nights I've had at the Bush because, well, I'll be at the Bush. The Bush is New York City's newest brick and mortar addition to lesbian clubbing. It opened in mid-2023, and y'all, I was there on opening night, line around several blocks, have to walk past all your hinge matches and ex-situationships to even get to the middle of the line. Movie, parentheses, horror. All that to say, the dykes were hungry. 2 years later, the Bush is a staple in my nightlife routine because of the quality and variety in their programming. They host a variety of parties catering mostly to hip-hop, R&B, and reggaeton, but also some really cute, wholesome events like speed dating. They had a bouquet making event, paint and sips bingo. Recently, I went to a screening of the Love Island finale there. Like, they maximize the fuck out of that space for real. But the club nights are alive. I love the music at the Bush, and it's evolved into a space that is typically very Black. It's not branded as a Black lesbian bar, though it does have one Black founder. It's not even branded as a lesbian bar. It's a dyke bar for the queers, which I have thoughts on, but Patreon. I don't remember exactly which events I was at when I took this footage. Sorry, I was live. But this is a pretty typical weekend at the Bush, regardless of the event. It's typically a good turnout, great music, friendly people, strong drinks, and the events can range from free to like $20 tickets. Notably, it's the only lesbian bar in North Brooklyn, notably Bushwick, which has become a hotspot of sorts for queer people who move to New York to live.
Friday, the weekends in Bushwick, specifically on Jefferson Avenue, that's where I am right now, are lit. I'm not showing the street, but like, yeah, it's live. Not me getting socio-political after the club. It was a great club night, but like, you know, clubbing is socio-political, and like, that's high-key how I feel. Like, walking down these streets after a club night is always so interesting because I'm seeing, again, like, even straight people, like, coming from the queer bars, like House of Yes or whatever, and being like a part of the scene. It's like, even this is like a gentrified sanctity for queer people. It has now become a haven or a little quirky thing to do for straight people on the weekends. And yeah, I don't know. The club was great. I love the Bush.
Bushwick is a very interesting neighborhood in the sense that it's being gentrified in a very unique way. I'm not a social scientist, so this is based more out of lived experience and talking to my friends who've grown up in Bushwick more than anything else. But the Bushwick of 20 years ago was majority made up of working class families, typically of Dominican and Puerto Rican descent, and in recent years, an influx of white queer people, typically creatives, has shifted the landscape in a unique way. You know that meme that's like, how you know your neighborhood is getting gentrified, and it's like a photo of an eclectic coffee shop and a mullet? That vibe. There's definitely a polarity in Bushwick between the multi-generational residents who lived and raised families in the neighborhood and the people who moved to Bushwick from out of state because they wanted to be in New York, and the cost of living in Manhattan is your left pinky toe in the soul of your firstborn child, plus a broker's fee. It's reminiscent to me of the gentrification of the West Village in the 90s and early 2000s. I'm going down a rabbit hole. Walk with me. But if you don't know, the West Village is the home to Stonewall, which is famously where the Stonewall riots took place, a pillar in the fight for queer rights and queer liberation. That is because the West Village was low-key the Bushwick of the 80s and early 90s, a safe haven for queer people and artists that deeply contrasts with its present-day reputation. Today's West Village is bouge. The average rent for an apartment in the West Village is $5,500 a month, and the neighborhood is known for housing luxury brands, fine dining, and essentially being a surrogate suburban safe haven for those who wanted to move to New York from out of state but could afford to give up the soul of their firstborn child. I've seen articles like this pop up in media outlets like The Cut recently, further cementing the West Village as this cult-like safe haven for homogenous marketing girlies and their stockbroker boyfriends. No shade, that's just what it gives. And the queer bars that remain, of which there are a decent amount, Cubbyhole included, stand as stark reminders of the history that's been dissipated, or at least had an overpriced wine bar built on top of it. But to circle back to Bushwick, which now has a nightlife reputation of its own for housing huge eclectic venues like Elsewhere or House of Yes, again, literally wasn't there. But from what I've heard, even those venues, which definitely have a queer or at least a very alternative vibe to them, have begun to skew more to the straights. Like, Bushwick is becoming the hotspot for the marketing girlies and their stockbroker boyfriends to pop out on a Saturday night if they want to reignite the spark in their otherwise beige relationship. It's a really interesting paradigm where not only is the community that created and nurtured the culture of the neighborhood being priced out and built on top of by, albeit marginalized people who are marginalized in a different way, infiltrating and shifting the dominant culture. But on top of that, it's become a destination location for those with even more privilege than everybody who, like, actually lives there. Food for thought.
Studs, my butches, my no labels, and everyone in between. I'm looking for fighters for Slippery When Wet, the Lesbian Oil Wrestling Party.
Hi, gay. We're actually in the conference room of the studio, and this is Shan and Tiffany. You most likely already know that because we're about to shoot an episode of Glass Closet, 2 episodes of Glass Closet that you most likely have already seen that we have not experienced yet, because we live in the future. Today we're gonna go to Lesbian Oil Wrestling. You guys went to Lesbian Oil Wrestling last time. Mm-hmm. It was almost like drag. Like, I expected it to be more violent, and it was way more like sexual.
I thought people were actually gonna like smack down, like,
and they were fucking. Lesbian Oil Wrestling launched this year, 2025, and takes place in both New York City and Toronto, respectively. It's organized and hosted by another Glass Closet alum, yes, Sine. And essentially, it's a multi-tiered event where lesbians oil wrestle each other. I guess it's in the name, yeah. Got back to mine, running late. This is a fit. This is Shy. We're gonna go shit on bitches. Actually, bitches are about to go shit on each other. But the dykes turned out. This was actually oomfchella.
Hello.
This is Moses.
Hey.
This is Haley. And this is OomfCon at the 2-mile-long line to Lesbian Oil Wrestling. Thank you.
So as I'm filming this, it's taken place twice in New York, and y'all know I made it out to both. Come on. It's similar in essence to the blanking competition in that, again, I find it to be performance art. Essentially, it's, to my knowledge, non-choreographed 1v1 wrestling matches where dykes create wrestling personas, put on quirky outfits, and straddle and choke each other in an inflatable pool full of oil, and the winner takes all. The first dyke wrestling I went to was indoors, and all the wrestlers fought in the same pool and had both a femme and mask as the resident oilers, hyping the crowd up by being sexy, oiling up the wrestlers, and collecting tips from the audience. And it had to be about 300 dykes sat in a circle around a little pool just gagging, communally. But the second one was even crazier. There were 2 pools so that 2 sets of fights could happen simultaneously, one indoors and one outdoors. And the line was giving Bush opening night flashbacks. It had to be upwards of 800 people there. It was genuinely crazy. It felt like an arena event, and it was really cool to be able to walk between the fights and look around, and it's just dykes everywhere, for real. My dream date.
My name is Kai. What's your name? Do it now. What do you think of the event?
We love lesbianism. I love lesbians so much. I think this is Like, this is such a beautiful space for lesbians to come together to just not only physically connect, but emotionally connect.
Exactly.
On all different levels. And I'm just obsessed.
And tonight, Kyla's taking me under her wing and showing me.
Yes, I am their lesbian godfather tonight. And yeah, so basically just showing them the ropes of lesbianism. And we love it out here. It's fucking good! Yes. Where in the world could you be able to do stuff like this besides Bushwick, besides New York City?
What did you think?
I thought,
Literally.
we'll be at the third.
We're competing.
We're literally
competing at the third one.
We gotta think about our names, we gotta think about our bits, we gotta think about our costumes.
We have to build story, because that's the thing. Y'all think it's fighting, it's really plot.
It's performance.
It's story. Like, it's not just bitches beating each other up, it's really bitches connecting.
Yes, and it's very creative.
Deeply
creative.
Some shit I've never seen before, really.
No, like, I'm inspired.
What kind of sushi is chicken kebab?
White sauce. One thing I really love about this event is the real time and care you can tell Zane put into making it safe. She posted a TikTok recently talking about kind of what I mentioned before of umbrella terming queer events when really they're meant to serve a specific subgroup, a common occurrence in lesbian nightlife.
We see people creating and hosting lesbian events, and I have been guilty for this where I kind of default to labeling all of my things queer when a lot of times, like, I do just mean lesbian, and I kind of want to stop doing that. Like, I want to be like, this is a lesbian specific event. Like, I want my events to be lesbian focused, lesbian centered, lesbian specific, because there are so few spaces for lesbians to come together. There are so few spaces that are not centering men in any capacity that is just reserved for lesbians.
And for Lesbian Oil Wrestling, there was a distinction made on the promo that this event was for lesbians specifically, and if you did not feel aligned or well versed within that community, don't be there, which I really appreciate. On top of that, there were just certain moments she initiated to pause and recollect and make sure everything was safe and consensual for the fighters that I really valued. Because at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck about wrestling. I just want to see the oiled up lesbians pin each other, and that's my truth. Everybody won in my heart. Hell, I won. But on the note of safety, as I wrap this up, I also want to emphasize the importance of club safety. Obviously, I'm focusing on the positive, fun, and light sides of clubbing and nightlife in this video, but it's important to remember, shit happens. The queer nightlife scene in New York is a beautiful place, and in the right spaces, you can definitely lean on the community in case of the worst. But nonetheless, don't take drinks you didn't see the bartender make. Test what you take. Always, always, always have a buddy that you can trust, especially at big functions. Say goodbye to your friends. Oh my God. Say goodbye to your friends. See them leave. Know who they're leaving with. If y'all are on terms like that, just have their parents' numbers, just to have it. You never know. And make sure they text you when they're home, or you at least have their location. Because queer nightlife is not just about reprieve and shaking ass. It is also about community and caring about one another. Yay! So that's what I have for you today, gay. This is probably the most live summer I've had in New York since I've lived here. I famously am a winter woodser. I do believe the Woods Wednesday winter regulars should get vouchers to skip the line during Pride, but that's just my opinion. But I barely scratched the surface of the amount of parties, event series, activities, scenes, whatever that this city encompasses. So if you want more of this type of content, or you have any burning questions, please subscribe to my Patreon, consider it. I just launched it, the link is down below. I'll be taking all types of video ideas, requests, doing live streams, posting exclusive vlogs, talking discourse, literally anything you want, to be honest. I just want it to feel like a little more intimate. And if you just like the way my brain works and want to hear more, you know what to do. I also just found out about the hype button. I don't know where it is, but if you see it, please hit it. Thank you. And follow my Instagram if you want to keep up. Mwah. Bye, gay.